It's time for high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast is presented by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth, Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert audio repair specialist, and Leonard Evans Used Cars Superstore. Now let's head out to the diamond for all the action with the NCW Life Channel Sports Director, Eric Granstrom.
Welcome back once again here to Recreation Park in Wenatchee as we are ready for the second end of our doubleheader here on the NCW Life Channel. I'm Eric Granstrom, and we've got Becca Freemuth back in the studios, Dan Kuntz and Uriah Darby out there and manning the cameras out in center field as the Wenatchee Panthers try to double up here on the Davis Pirates after winning Game 1 today, 2-0. Let's get the lineups here for you. First for the visitors, Davis with a record now of 0-4 after the loss in Game 1 today. Henry Gargis will lead off, batting first and playing in center field. Batting second, right fielder Isaac Pastrana. Batting third will be first baseman Kobe Cup. Batting fourth, left fielder Diego Sosa. Batting fifth will be the pitcher Jaden Martinez. Batting sixth, third baseman Gabe De Jesus. Batting fourth will be second baseman Jeffrey Edgar. Batting the eighth position will be center fielder Zach Valencia. And batting ninth, the shortstop Brock Williams. And it will be Jaden Martinez on the mound for the Davis Pirates. We'll get you the Wenatchee lineup as we get ready for the bottom half of the first, but we're heading to the top of the first, and we're ready to go as Bryce Peters delivers the first pitch. It's across for a strike and a count 0-1 on Henry Gargis. Gargis in the opener for Davis. Went 0 for 1, walked a couple of times. This ball skips in for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Henry Gargis. Flew out to right in his first at bat and then walked a couple of times. Got as far as third base, but Davis could not scratch a run across against Eddie Hamilton, who did a great job on the mound for Wenatchee in the opener. This pitch swung on and hit hard to center field, spinning and turning and not able to catch up with this ball as it dies in the outfield grass out there. It is awfully wet in center field. So Henry Gargis will be a leadoff double to start the ball game as twisting around out there in center field trying to track it down for Wenatchee was Keegan Romig, but Romig had a hard time finding that one. So it will be a double to start the ball game here for the Davis Pirates. That'll bring up right fielder Isaac Pastrana. Pastrana was the pitcher in the first game of our doubleheader here today. We had some issues with power next door in the press box, but looks like they got that rectified with the scoreboard now lit out beyond the right field fence. We're at 350 down the left field line here at Rec Park, 385 in straightaway center, and 295 down the right field. As we're ready for the first pitch to Isaac Pastrana with a runner out there at second base, held on by the defense of Wenatchee, and the pitch to the plate high for a ball from Peters, and the count 1-0 to Isaac Pastrana. Again, defensively for the Panthers, Seth Storley playing at first. This pitch swung on and missed by Pastrana, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Dalton Thomas out there at second base for the Wenatchee Panthers as they try to keep Henry Gargis close to the bag out there at second. Ben McKay, the shortstop, and a bunt right in front of the plate. Nice bunt. Catcher out to field, and they will not even have a throw to the bag at first. They will throw it, but the first baseman off the bag, so a bunt single for Isaac Pastrana. Down to third on the play goes Henry Gargis. And now a discussion on the mound as Coach Jeff Zender wants to come out and have a word with his infield as the Panthers were not ready to go on that one defensively. So Gargis at third base, Pastrana at first, and Kobe Cup coming to the plate. Cup 2 for 3, the hitting star in Game 1 here for the Davis Pirates. So Coach Jeff Zender having a discussion with the entire infield and now the home plate umpire. They switched for the umpire positions here for Game 2. Sean McNair behind the plate calling balls and strikes will take the slow walk out to the mound to break up the conversation. Meanwhile, a conversation was happening down in the coach's box. Brian Richardson talking with his base runners, Gargis and Pastrana, as well as the man coming up to the plate, Kobe Cup. So now that they've had the strategy session on the mound completed, the strategy session down in the third base coach's box wrapped up, we'll get back to baseball here at Rec Park. So a couple of base hits already for the Davis Pirates with runners on the corners here, and Kobe Cup standing in. And the pitch by Bryce Peters on the way to the plate is outside for a ball, 1-0 the count. And you can hear the rallying cheers from the dugout on the Davis side, on the first base side. Trying to get a run across and a toss over to the bag at first. Close play, but back scrambling safely was Isaac Pastrana. 1-0 the count to Kobe Cup. Diego Sosa waits on deck. Bryce Peters sets, and the right-hander's pitch to the plate as the the batter squares the bunt. Pitch misses high. 2-0 the count on Cup. Gargis at third. The pitch swung on, a hit back over the mound. Double play chance to second for one. The relay to first is in time, and a nice play by the shortstop for the Wenatchee Panthers on that particular play by Ben McKay. Davis does score a run, however, as Gargis comes home on the play. Kobe Cup is out 6-3 on the double play, unassisted out there on the bag at second. So 2 down here for Davis in the first, and that'll bring up left fielder Diego Sosa. Sosa was 0 for 3 in the first game today with a strikeout, a line out, and a ground out. First pitch to him from Peters is across but a little bit low for ball 1. 1-0 the count on Diego Sosa. Young ball club here for Davis. Sosa, a sophomore at the plate. This pitch swung on and grounded to the second baseman. Dalton Thomas to his right, fields and throws. And that'll be it here for Davis. But the Pirates do get 1 run on a couple of hits and nobody left. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Davis 1, Wenatchee 2 up next. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. 1-0 the score. Davis on top as they score for the first time here today against the Wenatchee Panthers. And now let's take a look at the lineup here for Coach Jeff Zender. The batting order for Wenatchee as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Ben McKay will bat first, playing shortstop. Batting second, left fielder Dalton Thomas. Batting third is first baseman Seth Storley. Batting fourth, the catcher Ronan Hayes. Batting fifth, center fielder Keegan Romig. Batting sixth, the pitcher Bryce Peters. Batting seventh, third baseman Colton Dial. Batting eighth is center fielder Eddie Hamilton, and batting ninth is right fielder Dalton Thomas. Oops, I got Thomas in the lineup twice here as my chair tries to throw me. I lost a wheel. That's what happened. All right. So we got Dalton Thomas twice in the lineup. We'll see what the deal is here. I believe instead it should be Michael Thomas. There we go. Second in the lineup here for the Wenatchee Panthers. So I think I got that straight now as Ben McKay will step up here as Wenatchee finds itself trailing Davis 1-0. Appreciate you joining us here on the NCW Life Channel. Our broadcast brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Starting pitcher here for Davis in Game 2 is Jaden Martinez. And the right-hander's first delivery on the way to the plate is swung on and hit hard. And a nice diving stop by the third baseman. He gets up and throws, and the ball goes caroming off of the first baseman's glove. So Ben McKay aboard with an infield single. But a nice attempt over there by the third baseman for the Davis Pirates and Gabe DeJesus. He had a couple of great plays playing at second base in the opener today. And that's a whale of a play for a freshman over there on a hard hit ball by McKay. But he's aboard, 1 on, and that'll bring up Michael Thomas. Left fielder for Wenatchee waits as the ball tossed over to the first base bag. And back safely Ben McKay. Kobe Cup playing at first base here in this one for Davis defensively. Pitch to Thomas is inside and low, and a steal attempt, and stealing safely at second is Ben McKay. So give him a stolen base, and the count to Thomas at 1-0. So a chance for Thomas with a well-placed ball to possibly tie the game here with a runner in scoring position for Wenatchee. The 1-0 pitch on the way to the plate is way outside, gets past the catcher, and scampering down to third on the play will be Ben McKay on a wild pitch. 2-0 the count to Michael Thomas. So Davis got the lead in the top half of this game, and in danger of giving that right back to Wenatchee with a runner at third and nobody out, and a 2-0 count on Michael Thomas. De Jesus drawn in at third, and this pitch misses high and inside for ball 3. Had rains earlier this morning. Sun came out this afternoon. Not a bad day for baseball here at Recreation Park. 3-0 count to Thomas. Pitch on the way is a strike on the inside corner, and the count goes to 3-1. Our broadcast also sponsored by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal, and Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialist. The 3-1 pitch way inside, and aboard with a walk is Michael Thomas. So runners at the corners for Wenatchee, and that'll bring up first baseman Seth Storley. Storley in the opening game today went 0 for the day with a fly out to left, to ground out to the shortstop, and he got aboard in his final plate appearance on an error by the shortstop. Coach Jeff Zender over in the third base coach's box, giving the signs to Seth Storley as he'll step in the right-handed batter's box with runners on the corners. Wenatchee trailing at 1-0. And the runner from first goes. They'll throw out to second. The ball thrown over the second baseman's head into center field. And now scampering towards third, sliding head first safely is Michael Thomas. And a run will score for Wenatchee. We're tied at 1. So that would be an error on the pitcher on a throw out on a pickoff attempt, as Thomas left before the pitch to the plate. The pitcher looked like he had him dead to rights out there at second base, but he threw it over the second baseman's head out into center field. And so McKay scores on the play. Over to third goes Thomas. And Storley waiting for the first pitch to come his way. Now it's on the way, and it's a swing and a high fly ball hit to left center field. Should score a run. Tagging at third is Thomas, and the throw home is up the line, and Wenatchee on top 2-1. So give an RBI and the sacrifice fly for Seth Storley, as Wenatchee is now leading Davis 2-1, and that'll bring up the catcher Ronan Haynes. Ronan in the first game today was hit by a pitch and grounded out twice to the second baseman. First pitch to him here is outside missing for ball 1, 1-0 the count. Jeffrey Edgar playing at second base right now for Davis here in this nightcap of the Twin Bill. This pitch misses away for a ball. 2-0 the count. So the scoreboard reads: Davis 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 error. Wenatchee 2 runs, 1 hit, no errors, and this pitch misses away for ball 3. Keegan Romig on deck for Wenatchee. 3-0 the count to Haynes, and this pitch swung on and grounded towards the second baseman. Edgar over to his right will field and throw, and Cup is able to squeeze the ball over there at first base for the out. 2 down for Wenatchee. That'll bring up Keegan Romig.
Number 19, Keegan Romig.
4-3 on the putout on Haynes. Romig 0 for 2 in the first game today. Hit into a double play to the shortstop. This pitch swung on and lifted into left field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Romig rounding first, and the left fielder having to run a long way to get into it because a very wet track out in the outfield here. That ball just sticks as soon as it hits that grass. Be a great day to play golf. If you're coming right at the greens, you just fly it right in at the hole, at the stick, and one of those days where the ball will just check up no matter what. That's what's happening in the outfield here at Recreation Park today. Walla Walla Point Park still a mess from the winter and the rains, and not playable today, so the Wenatchee girls are over playing their home game today at Sterling. This pitch swung on and lifted into right field by Peters. Rounding second, Romig was on the run at the pitch, and he'll scamper into the third base. So Wenatchee with runners on the corners again. Little looping single to right by Bryce Peters, and that'll bring up Colton Dial. Colton playing third base in this one for Wenatchee. Steps up. See if he can do some damage here with 2 outs. Romig at third, Peters at first. And ready for the pitch to the plate. Instead, a step off by Jaden Martinez. Sun sinking in the southwestern sky here, bringing shadows across the field from first to third. And the pitch to the plate is high and inside, and the catcher steps out from behind home plate and fans a throw towards third base. Zach Valencia, the catcher for Davis. Again, artificial surface in the infield here. Both the brown quote-unquote dirt portion, now a step at third and a look back at first by Martinez. And then natural grass in the outfield, and that is where it is awfully wet and awfully sticky, if you will. And that soft field, that soft turf out there in the outfield. 1-0 the count to Dial, and the pitch to the plate swung on a hit hard to the third baseman. Backhanding it is De Jesus, and a good throw across, and I'll tell you, that freshman is impressing me here in this doubleheader. Wenatchee does get 2 runs on 3 hits. Couple of men left. We'll head to the second. Wenatchee 2, Davis 1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Sports broadcast on the NCW Life Channel brought to you in part by AC Checker Taxi Cab, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and Quick Lube and Tune. Eric Granstrom with you, coming to you live from Recreation Park in Wenatchee. Dan Kuntz and Uriah Darby out there manning the cameras in the outfield, and Becca Freemuth taking care of things back in the studios. Appreciate you joining us here for live baseball on the NCW Life Channel. To the top of the second we go. Wenatchee on top by a score of 2-1. Jaden Martinez, Gabe De Jesus, and Jeffrey Edgar due up here in the second for the Pirates. Martinez getting the task as the pitcher in this one after playing first base in the opener. Takes a pitch from Bryce Peters, low and away for a ball. 1-0 the count. Peters ready with the next delivery. This one across for a strike, says the home plate umpire, and we're even at a ball and a strike. Again, Sean McNair calling balls and strikes here in this one. This pitch misses way outside and in the dirt. Nice stop by Ronan Hayes behind the plate. Golf swing and fouled off on the third base side for Martinez. Evens the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Early season baseball, the 2-2 pitch is low and away for a ball, and the count runs full at 3-2. Early season baseball, not a sign of life yet on the ivy out there in center field. Going to be several weeks before we see any leaves start popping out there. This pitch swung on and chopped off the plate. Tough play. Shortstop in, will field and throw, and it's dropped by the first baseman. Nice attempt. Ben McKay with a long run in. His throw across, however, Seth Storley not able to hold on to it. I think they'll give him an infield single to Jaden Martinez.
That is the third baseman.
This will bring up third baseman Gabe DeJesus. The runner from first goes. The bunt down. The pitcher off the mound. Peters will throw out to second base. They get the lead runner there. Nice job of quickly getting off the mound by Peters to get that bunt run out in front of home plate. And so a fielder's choice out at second is Martinez, 1-6 on the putout.
Number 4, Jeffrey Edgar.
On the bunt attempt by DeJesus. That'll bring up second baseman Jeffrey Edgar. Pitch to the plate by Peters, misses away for ball one. So Storley defensively set up at first base for Wenatchee. Dalton Thomas at second. Toss over to the bag. Good move by Bryce Peters. Close play at the bag at first. DeJesus, though, getting in under the tag. McKay, the shortstop for Wenatchee, and coming to the plate with a pitch, a bunt attempt. The ball caromed out of the glove of the catcher, Haynes, right back to the pitcher, but that allowed the runner at first to get down to second in the process. He was running. The pitch was high and inside, so I guess you give him a stolen base on that one. Ball just came out of the glove of the catcher, and really no chance to throw it out to second. And the pitch this time is a fastball missing outside for a ball. 2-0 the count on Jeffrey Edgar, or excuse me, 3-0 the count on Edgar. The 3-0 pitch is across for a called strike, and a count to 3-1 on Edgar. Jeffrey Edgar, another freshman, getting in the lineup to start here on varsity. The pitch to the plate, swung on and fouled back behind home plate. And the count now runs full on Edgar at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Colton Dial battling the sun over there, playing at third base for Wenatchee. This pitch is a swing, sort of, and a miss. Edgar, I guess we'll give him a strikeout swinging for the second out of the inning.
That is the center fielder, number 8.
And that'll bring up the center fielder, Zach Valencia. First pitch misses for a ball. 1-0 the count. Boy, Bryce Peters doesn't wait any time out there on the mound. He's quickly coming to the plate. 1-0 count to Valencia. He was 0 for 2 in the first game. This pitch swung on and popped up foul territory, and Dial will make the catch backpedaling, and that'll do it for Davis here in the second. To get a runner aboard on a base hit, they leave a man. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Wenatchee on top of Davis, 2-1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. 2-1 ball game as we head to the bottom of the second here at Recreation Park. Eric Granstrom with you. Thanks for watching us this afternoon on the NCW Life Channel. Bringing you live baseball today. We'll have live lacrosse tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the Wenatchee Valley Thunder take on the Richland Bombers from the Apple Bowl, adjacent here to Recreation Park. So look forward to that coming up tomorrow on the NCW Life Channel. It'll be Eddie Hamilton, Dalton Thomas, and Ben McKay due up here. 8, 9, and 1 batters for Wenatchee as we're in the bottom of the second. Wenatchee 2 runs in the first on a sac fly RBI by Seth Storley.
Right fielder, number 9, Eddie Hamilton.
Another run coming home to score on an error for the Panthers. First pitch misses inside to Hamilton. 1-0 the count to Eddie. Did a great job pitching. And the opener for Wenatchee to get the victory, 2-0 over Davis. The 1-0 pitch swung on and a high fly ball hit foul down the left field line. And that will carry him on one hop into the batter's area down there. The count even to Hamilton, a 1 ball and 1 strike. Batting cages down the left field line here in foul territory. The 1-1 pitch to the plate bounces in Went about 59 feet before it hit in front of home plate. The count 2-1 to Eddie. And the 2-1 delivery to the plate up over his head. And the count in Hamilton's favor at 3 balls and 1 strike. Eddie 0 for 3 in the opener today. Struck out, grounded back to the pitcher, and popped in foul territory to the third baseman. 3-1 the count to him here. Martinez with the wind and delivery to the plate. Swung on and lifted in the air to shallow left center. It'll be the center fielder calling for it, and he will make the catch for the out. 1 out for Wenatchee here in the second as Henry Gargis able to gather that one in.
That is the second baseman. Number 8, Dalton Thomas.
Interesting navigation for those in the outfield here today with it being so soft out there. Not only can you not run very fast, but then any ball that gets out to the outfield just dies. Dalton Thomas steps up here with 1 out in the second, and the first pitch is a little bit inside for a ball from Martinez. 1-0 the count. Martinez, Valencia, the battery here. Pitcher catcher, Cup at first, Edgar at second, Williams at short, De Jesus at third. That's the defensive lineup in the infield, and this pitch inside and hit the batter. So Dalton Thomas, hit by a pitch, will be awarded first base on the play, and back to the top of the order for Wenatchee to shortstop Ben McKay. McKay started things off with a base hit to left in his first plate appearance. Stole second base, moved to third on a wild pitch, and then scored on an error on a pickoff move by the pitcher. Toss over to the bag at first, not in time. As Kobe Cup changes sides of the diamond here, as he was over at third base in Game 1, playing first base here in Game 2. Martinez working from the stretch, and McKay waiting for the first pitch to come to him. It is missing inside for ball 1. Busy prep schedule today. Another toss to the bag at first. A little closer this time, but back safely is Dalton Thomas at the bag at first. Davis here in Wenatchee taking on the Panthers. Eastmont doubleheader at Eisenhower. The runner from first goes, and the ball dropped by the catcher as he jumped from his crouch behind the plate as the pitch came to him, which was a ball. And Dalton Thomas with a stolen base out at second now. Runner in scoring position for Wenatchee with 1 down here in the second, and a 2-0 count, hitters count to Ben McKay. McKay with a hit in the opener, and the pitch to him swung on and lifted in the air to right field. The right fielder, late start. Pastrana out there, dropped the baseball. Runner from second will go to third. Dalton Thomas on the play, and that's going to be an error charge to the right fielder, as Pastrana got a late jump on it and then came scampering in and let the glove down and just could not come up with a baseball. So an error going to be charged to the right fielder. Runners on the corners for Wenatchee with 1 out, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Michael Thomas. Thomas with a walk and a run scored in the first. Wenatchee threatening to extend their 2-1 lead as it sits right now. Jaden Martinez will see if he works from the windup or the stretch. You imagine he would with runner at first and nobody out there at second. He will work from the stretch with Ben McKay behind him at the bag at first, taking a short lead, and the pitch to the plate is a curveball missing high for ball 1. So the Panthers threatening to extend a lead here that sits at 2-1 as we're in the bottom of the second. The 1-0 pitch to Thomas, low and inside. The runner from first runs to second, stolen base for Ben McKay as the throw from the catcher skips across the diamond, picked up there by Williams, the shortstop. And the pitch, a ball to Thomas. So Wenatchee really in business here with runners at second and third. 1 out. Infield starts moving in here, and the 2-0 pitch to the plate is Across but low for ball 3. So we mentioned Eastmont on the road at Eisenhower today for a doubleheader. Meanwhile, in soccer, Wenatchee hosting Ike tonight at 7 o'clock in the Apple Bowl. This curveball is across for a strike, and the count goes to 3-1 on Thomas. Softball, we mentioned Sterling, a busy place today. A couple of doubleheaders in Big 9 play. This pitch misses away for a ball, so the base is loaded here for Wenatchee for first baseman Seth Storley. Walla Walla Point Park not playable yet, so Wenatchee's game with Davis today had to be moved over to the Sterling Complex. So while Eastmont was hosting Eisenhower in a twin bill, Wenatchee hosting Davis in a twin bill, all at Sterling today. The first pitch to Storley swung on and a sky-high fly ball in the infield. There should be a infield fly rule, and the first baseman comes in. The umpires say infield fly. They still have to make the play, though. The runners on the bases could move if they chose to, but a pop out to the first baseman for the second out here for Wenatchee. Runners hold their positions. That'll bring up the catcher, Ronan Haynes. So Seth Storley saw that off-speed pitch coming, and eyes got awfully big and just got underneath of it. So Haynes steps in the left-handed batter's box with the bases still jammed, and the pitch swung on, and a ball struck to center field. That's going to score 2, maybe more. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. Now scampering down to second. Here comes a runner rounding third. He will score as well. 3 runs in for the Panthers. They now lead it 5-1. So Thomas scored immediately on the base hit by Ronan Hayes. Ben McKay came around and scored the throw from center fielder Gargis as it came home to try to get McKay.
Number 19, Keegan Romick.
Storley moved down to second base, and now the pitch to the plate is outside to Keenan Ronig, that is. 1-0 the count. So Thomas comes around and scores. 3 runs in the inning with 2 outs, and a pitch to the plate low and inside for a ball. 2-0. So 2 RBIs. Haynes moves to second on the throw around the diamond here as they try to come home again as Thomas scored. And Martinez with a long deliberation about what's happening out there at second base decides to finally step off the rubber. So Wenatchee opening up a bigger lead here, 5-1 over Davis. All coming with 2 outs in the second, and the pitch swung on and grounded foul up the third baseline. Count now to 2-1 on Keegan Ronig. This broadcast sponsored by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Also by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. And Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialists. Pitch to the plate, swung on and fouled out of play up the first base line. And the count even now to Ronig at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think some JV soccer going on in the Apple Bowl right now. Looks like that game is tied at 2. 5-1 our score here. Wenatchee on top of Davis, and this curveball misses very high to Ronig. Runs the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jade Martinez looks in, gets the sign from Valencia. And the 3-2 pitch on the way, high again for ball 4, or is that ball 3? I thought that was ball 4. No. All right, I was off on my count. Now a 3-2 count. And the pitch on the way. Swung on and hit hard. It's a fair ball down the third baseline. Rounding third and heading for home. The throw is going to be cut off by the third baseman. Ronan Hayes will score. Give an RBI single to Keegan Romig, and Wenatchee up 6-1. No chance for De Jesus over there at third base as that ball was hit on a rope over his head into left field. Sosa had a long run to come get it. Romig holds up at first base on the play. Haynes scores. 4 runs here in the inning as Wenatchee brings their 8th man to the plate in the frame, Bryce Peters. Pitch to Peters misses way high for ball 1. And now we're going to get a visit to the mound here. A reminder that coming up tomorrow, Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse in Richland right here live on the NCW Life channel. I'll be joined by Rod Higley on the broadcast tomorrow, so be sure and join us for that. That'll be followed at 7 o'clock tomorrow night on a replay of Wenatchee Soccer against Sunnyside from March 17th. That was a great game. Be sure and watch that tomorrow night. Then coming up on Sunday, we've got a quadruple header of sports for you starting at noon as Wenatchee Lacrosse takes on Lewis and Clark. That'll be followed by Shadle Park and Wenatchee Soccer at 2, Shadle Park and Eastmont Soccer at 5, and then Wenatchee Soccer against Quincy at 7. That's all coming up Sunday this weekend right here on the NCW Life channel. So 1-0 the count to Bryce Peters with a runner at first base. It all started for Wenatchee after a fly out by Eddie Hamilton. Dalton Thomas got aboard when he was hit by a pitch. Ben McKay got aboard on a fly ball to right that was dropped by the right fielder Pastrana. Thomas walked, and with the bases loaded, Panthers were able to get 3 runs on a ball in play by Ronan Haynes. Toss to the bag at first, not in time. Seth Storley came up with the bases jammed and popped out to the first baseman, so everybody had to hold still. But Ronan Hayes came up with a base hit to center field, and bases ended up clearing as the ball was thrown around a little bit in the infield. This pitch misses high to Peters, so the count now 3-0 on Bryce. Martinez ready, and the 3-0 pitch to the plate, high and inside for ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk to Bryce Peters. That'll put Romig down at second base. Peters on at first. Colton Dial steps now into the batter's box. We're going to get a courtesy runner over at first base as David Snyder will come in and run for Bryce Peters.
Batter the third baseman, number 11, Colton Dial.
So Dial, the 9th man to come to the plate here in the second for Wenatchee. 2 on, 2 out. 5 runs, or make that 4 runs in the inning. And Dial stepping up. First pitch swung on and a fly ball to left field. Sosa over to his left will make the catch, and that will do it for Wenatchee. But not before they get 4 runs on just 2 hits and 2 men left. We'll head to the third. Wenatchee 6, Davis 5. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life channel. Welcome back once again here to Recreation Park in Wenatchee as we head to the third inning of play. Wenatchee on top of Davis 6-1, second game of this doubleheader here on the NCW Life channel. Brock Williams leads it off here for Davis as Bryce Peters continues to work in the third, and the first pitch is taken for a strike, 0-1 the count. Brock Williams in the opener today for the Davis Pirates. 0 for 3 in the game. This pitch swung on and fouled away at home plate. The count quickly 0-2 on Williams. He grounded to third base, got aboard on an error, on a throwing error on third baseman for Wenatchee, and then struck out swinging in his final plate appearance in Game 1. The 0-2 pitch bounces in for a ball, and the count goes to 1-2. I will say something about this artificial turf here that makes up the entire infield. So the brown you see on the television at home, that's not dirt, that's a turf. This pitch swung on and missed, so Brock Williams is gone for the strikeout. And back to the top of the order for Davis, center fielder Henry Gargis. Gargis got aboard on a double To start off the first, he scored on a ground out by Kobe Cup. They gave Davis its 1 run here in the ballgame. So Davis 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors. Wenatchee 6 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. And the first pitch to Gargis, a little inside for a ball. 1-0 the count. I was mentioning about this turf infield here, with the brown being actually that turf instead of dirt. Will save you a lot on baseballs. 2-0 the count on Gargis, and this pitch ripped to right field, and that's going to go all the way back, well, die in the grass. Normally it'd go to the fence and into second base with his second double of the ball game is Henry Gargis. Kind of got ahead of myself thinking that ball was going to scoot to the fence, but no, not in the wet surface out there. It dies in the grass out there, and that's where Hamilton was able to run it down for Wenatchee. So runner in scoring position for Davis as Isaac Pastrana steps up, and this curveball is in for a strike. Nice pitch there by Bryce Peters. 0-1 the count to Pastrana. He got aboard on a bunt single in the first. Standing in the right-handed batter's box, the 0-1 pitch is low and outside for a ball. 1-1 the count to Pastrana. See if we can get you an update on the NCAA basketball games going on. As the Washington Huskies playing in the Sweet 16, that ball was in the glove when Pastrana decided to swing at it. 1-2 the count. Timeout going to be called here, then a little visit to the mound. Let's see. I had these scores here for a second. Washington looked like they were trailing in the fourth quarter to Mississippi State. Score went away for a moment. There it is. Washington down by 10, so they led early, but now down by 10 to Mississippi State, 68-58, with 3:15 left in regulation. Swing and a foul at the plate by Pastrana. So the count remains at a ball and 2 strikes to the right fielder for the Davis Pirates. Washington has scored with 3:15 to go, so now it's 68-60. Washington women trailing Mississippi State in the Sweet 16. This pitch is a strike called on the outside corner. Gone looking is Pastrana for the second out here in the third. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Kobe Cup. Cup 0 for 1 with a ground out to the shortstop of the first. That did score a run, so he got an RBI for his effort. Steps in the left-handed batter's box here, and a pitch to the plate by Bryce Peters, a little bit high for a ball. 1-0 the count. So Washington has scored again under 3 minutes to go. They've cut the lead to 6, 68-62 in the fourth quarter. This pitch swung on and fouled out of play on the third base side. So the count evens to Kobe Cup at 1 ball and 1 strike. Gonzaga Bulldogs advancing last night with a narrow victory over West Virginia. They'll take on Xavier tomorrow in the Elite Eight. Curveball, check swing. The umpire says, yeah, that's a strike. And the count to Kobe Cup is 1-2. So the Bulldogs are in the Elite Eight. Another Pac-12 team out last night as Xavier surprised Arizona, knocking the Wildcats out of the NCAA tournament. Cup takes the next pitch from Peters for a ball. 2-2 count, and the pitch on the way low and inside. Nice stop by Haynes behind the plate to keep Gargis out there at second base. So the count runs full to Cup at 3-2. We're in the top of the third. Wenatchee on top 6-1 over Davis. Henry Gargis with a 1-out double standing out there at second base. 3-2 pitch is a strike three called, and gone looking is Cup, and so too are the Pirates in the third. They get a runner aboard on a double, but Bryce Peters ends out striking out the side. We'll head to the bottom of the third. Wenatchee on top 6-1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. 6-1 our score as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Wenatchee on top of Davis here in the second end of this doubleheader here tonight on the NCW Life Channel. Eric Granstrom with you. We've got Dan Coots and Uriah Darby out there on the cameras in center field, and Becca Freemuth back in the nice warm confines of our studio at the Broadcast Metroplex. 6-1 the score. Wenatchee on top. We head to the third here, and Eddie Hamilton, Dalton Thomas, and Ben McKay due up for the Panthers, and it looks like the Washington Huskies are going to be bounced out of the NCAA tournament. Just a minute 17 to go, and Mississippi State on top of Washington 74-62. So it looks like the Lady Dogs' run in the NCAA tournament will come to an end here today. Mississippi State, a number 2 seed, Washington, a number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. We'll get you up to date on the men's scores as soon as this one is final for Washington and Mississippi State. So Eddie Hamilton will lead it off here for Wenatchee as we head to the bottom of the third. What's turned out to be a brisk but sunny afternoon here in the Wenatchee Valley. The pitch by Martinez is a fastball low and inside for ball 1 to Eddie Hamilton. 1-0 the counts. Eddie 0 for 1. He flew out to center in his first plate appearance. That started off the last inning. This misses inside for ball 2, 2-0. Sounds like the Bulldogs of Mississippi State have been able to bottle up Kelsey Plum and the Huskies here today. This pitch swung on and fouled, I think, off of the batter, Hamilton, on the third base side. So the count goes to 2-1 on Eddie. Dalton Thomas waiting on deck. Ben McKay in the hole for the Panthers here in the third. Swing and a miss on a high fastball by Hamilton. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. A 2-2 pitch from Martinez fouled into the screen behind home plate. Count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Coming up tomorrow, 4 baseball doubleheaders, all in the lower classifications. The 2-2 pitch out here, way outside. Count runs full now to Hamilton at 3-2. And it looks like all of our teams from this area are going to be on the road tomorrow. Waterville Mansfield at Tenasket. Cashmere's in Chelan. Cascade is hosting tomorrow. Omak. Manson at Oroville, all doubleheaders. This pitch swung on and a pop-up in the infield, and the second baseman over, clear over in front of where the first baseman should be standing, and Edgar makes the play for the out. So a pop-up to the infield here for Eddie Hamilton. 1 out for Wenatchee in the third, and that brings up right fielder Dalton Thomas. Well, Dalton Thomas got things going on a 4-run second. He was hit by a pitch. Eventually came around and scored on the base hit by Ronan Haynes. First pitch to him misses low and outside for ball 1. Also tomorrow, soccer, Chelan's at Granger, Manson's at Bridgeport, Cashmere at Royal. Swing and a foul back by Thomas. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Softball, Chelan's at Granger for a doubleheader. Manson hosts Oroville. Manson's on the road at Oroville, and Waterville Mansfield at Tenasket, all twin bills, all starting at 11 o'clock. Curveball misses way high to Thomas from Martinez. 2 balls, 1 strike. A couple of big track meets tomorrow in the Region 2. Ephrata hosting the Ray Cross Invitational, and at Wenatchee High School, it's the Ray Cockrum Invite. That starts at 11 o'clock at the track not too far from here at Wenatchee High School, just across the street. 2-1 the count to Thomas, and a fastball low for ball 3. Again, keeping our eye on the NCAA tournament to see if it has gone final. It has. Meanwhile, ball 4, Dalton Thomas wasn't quite sure. The umpire, Sean McNair, never really was too verbal about it. And Dalton turned 3 times back before he threw his bat away and heads down to first base. So back to the top of the order for Wenatchee. And shortstop Ben McKay. Ben 1 for 2. He got aboard on a base hit in the first. High pitch over his head for ball 1. 1-0 the count to McKay. He has scored twice. Also has a couple of stolen bases. So it's been a busy game so far for McKay. It has gone final. Mississippi State over Washington, 75-64. The runner goes. The pitch swung on a grounded to the third baseman. Coming up with it is De Jesus, but his throw to first base is off the line, and safe at first is Ben McKay. Dalton Thomas was away on the pitch, so run and hit, if you will. That'll bring up Michael Thomas.
22, Mikey Thomas.
So we'll see if they score that as a hit or an error. They're going to say an error on the third baseman on the throw to first base. Pitch here is across for a strike to Michael Thomas. 0-1 the count to Thomas, who has walked twice and scored twice for Wenatchee in this one. So the Panthers in business again, 2 on, 1 down. And the 0-1 pitch is high for ball. 1-1. So the Washington women are out of the NCAA tournament. We'll get you back to the NCAA men's tournament here and get you some scores. Runner from second goes. Double steal pulled off here by the Panthers, as the catcher Valencia, by the time he got that ball, really had no place to go with it. And so Dalton Thomas down to third base. Ben McKay winds up at second base. Third stolen base of the day for Ben McKay. This pitch swung on and a well-hit ball into the gap, but the center fielder is going to track it down. The runner from third will tag and score. Meanwhile, going down to third base is Ben McKay. Give a sac fly for an RBI to Michael Thomas, and Wenatchee's up 7-1. So Dalton Thomas will score on the fly out to center field, give a sac and an RBI to Michael Thomas, and that'll bring up first baseman Seth Storley. Storley 0 for the game so far. Sac fly in the first and a pop up to the first baseman in the second. First pitch is across for a strike. 0-1 the count on Seth Storley. North Carolina, no troubles with Butler today, 83-68. That with about 3:57 to go in the second half. A swing and a foul down the left field line by Storley. The count 0-2 on Seth. Pitch misses high for a ball. 1-2 the count on Storley. Second half, South Carolina leading Baylor 49-36. UCLA and Kentucky coming up later tonight. Wisconsin and Florida also later tonight. This pitch high over the head. The runner from third looked at coming home, but now that the ball thrown away past the pitcher, and had Ben McKay been watching down at home, he would have been able to score on the play. But he'll hold up at third base on a ball kind of thrown around the infield here a little bit. Valencia chased after it, caromed off of the boards behind home plate. Came back out nicely to him, and he tossed it to Martinez covering home plate. Ball missed him, went back out towards the mound. The pitch to the plate swung on and fisted in the air. It's going to hit behind the mound. The third baseman over to make the play, and that'll be out recorded, and Wenatchee shut down here in the third, but not before they get a run. No hits, an error, and one man left. We will head to the fourth. Wenatchee leading Davis 7-1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCAA Life Channel. You're watching Wenatchee Baseball here this afternoon on the NCAA Live Channel as the Panthers play host to the Davis Pirates. Eric Granstrom with you as Wenatchee leads Davis in the second inning of this doubleheader today. 7-1 is our score right now as we head to the fourth inning of play. It's Diego Sosa leading off the fourth for Davis against Bryce Peters on the mound. The first pitch misses a little high for ball one to Diego Sosa. Sosa 0 for 1 with a ground out to second back in the first inning. Next pitch from Peters a little bit high again for ball two. 2-0 the count. Jaden Martinez and Gabe DeJesus also due up here in the fourth for Davis. Pitch this time from Peters is across for a strike. 2-1, and quickly Peters again working, and a swing and a foul into the glove of the catcher evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. This pitch swung on and hit just off the front of the rubber, and the front of the plate, that is, and quickly out like a cat is Ronan Haynes to grab it and throw out to first base for the out. 2-3 on the put out, 1 out here in the fourth, and that'll bring up the pitcher, Jaden Martinez.
Number 12, Jaden Martinez.
First pitch from Peters misses for a ball. 1-0 the count to Martinez, who got aboard on a base hit in the second. This pitch swung on and hit in the air on the foul territory side of third base. And right there, Colton Dial with a nice job of tracking it and getting the out. Pop out in foul territory to the third baseman. Second out of the inning brings up third baseman Gabe DeJesus. Peters misses inside with the first pitch to Jesus. 1-0 the count to the third baseman. Freshman up there for Davis. Takes a strike. Bryce Peters working very quickly for the Wenatchee Panthers. The 1-1 pitch to DeJesus is a curveball. Misses inside for ball 2. 2-1 to the Pirate third baseman. We'll have more Wenatchee baseball as the season progresses. Eastmont as well. This pitch is low and outside for a ball. And the count 3-1 on DeJesus. In fact, we'll be over at Eastmont High School for some live baseball next Friday right here on the NCAA Live Channel. So we're looking forward to that one as we will test out our van equipment with a remote broadcast. This pitch swung on and drilled to center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Nice swing. And again, I just cannot help but be impressed by this freshman for Davis, Gabe DeJesus. He's made some brilliant plays defensively. And now with a well-struck ball to center field for a base hit with 2 outs. That'll bring up the second baseman, Jeffrey Edgar, for the Pirates. Nope. Excuse me. It is not Jeffrey Edgar.
Josh Fernandez.
It is Josh Fernandez that will hit here for Edgar. So Fernandez steps in as a pinch hitter. We'll see what the defensive change is. Another freshman here for Coach Brian Richardson. Working from the stretch is Bryce Peters with a runner behind him at first, and the pitch to the plate is a strike on the inside corner. 0-1 the count. Fernandez came in as a pinch hitter in the first game and grounded back to the pitcher for the final out in Wenatchee's 2-0 win over Davis in Game 1 today. The 0-1 pitch to Fernandez, a little bit high for a ball. Our sports broadcast on the NCAA Live Channel brought to you by Quick Lube and Tune, Neal's Boots and Shoes, and AC Checker Taxi Cab. Swing and a miss there by Fernandez, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. 1 aboard with 2 down here in the fourth for Davis, and the 1-2 pitch is outside for ball 2. Yeah, next Friday, West Valley and Eastmont. That should be a good one. at Dan White Field. Swing and a miss. The ball got away from the catcher, though, and back to grab it as Haynes. The throw to first base is not dug out in foul territory. Meanwhile, scampering around second and heading to third is DeJesus. So a K and an E2 as Fernandez will be aboard on the strikeout and the ball that got away from the catcher, Ronan Haynes.
Zach Valencia.
And so I believe that goes down as an error on the Panthers here. So runners on the corners with 2 down. Brings up the center fielder, Zach Valencia. Pitch to Valencia from Peters. Swung on and missed. And 0-1 the count to Valencia, who popped in foul territory to the third baseman, Colton Dial, back in the second. 0-1 the count to Valencia. And the pitch to the plate is a fastball missing inside for ball 1. West Valley, Wenatchee, Eastmont all expected to be battling for the upper echelons of the Columbia Basin Big Nine this season. 1-1 the count to Valencia, and the pitch to the plate is a curveball. Strike called on the outside corner. Boy, that had a lot of bend to it from Bryce Peters. 1-2 the count to Valencia. Peters struck out the side in the third, looking for the final out here in the fourth. And the 1-2 pitch on the way to the plate misses outside for ball 2. Gabe DeJesus with a single to center with 2 outs in the fourth stands over at third base right now. Josh Fernandez at first. And the 2-2 pitch to Valencia swung on and missed, and that'll be the final out here in the fourth. They get 2 aboard on a base hit and an error, and they leave 2. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth inning. Wenatchee leading Davis 7-1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Ronan Haynes, Keegan Romig, and Bryce Peters do up here in the Wenatchee half of the fourth inning, as the Panthers lead the Davis Pirates 7-1 here on the NCW Life Channel. Our broadcast brought to you by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. By Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal, and Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialist. Appreciate you joining us here for the broadcast, whether you're watching us on Local Chill Channel 12, on Charter Channel 19, or on the web, ncwlife.com. Wherever you might be watching us, appreciate you tuning in today here on the NCW Life Channel. Ronan Haynes starts things off. He had a 2-run single in the first. The pitch low and inside for a ball. 1-0 the count to Haynes. 1 for 2 in the ball game. He grounded his second in the first. He's also scored a run here in this one. So a busy game so far for Ronan. A 1-0 pitch swung on and fouled back, and the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Brisk afternoon here in Wenatchee. Chilling temperatures as the sun falls behind the mountainsides to our west. Haynes takes the next pitch for a strike, so he's behind in the count at 1-2 to Jaden Martinez. The right-hander's delivery to the plate bounces in way short of home plate, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch for Martinez on the way to the plate again misses outside for ball 3, 3-2. Looking back on the game so far, Martinez has walked 3 batters up to this point, and the 3-2 pitch high for ball 4. Good eye by Ronan Haynes. He thought about pulling the trigger on swinging on that pitch, but saw it was high, and so decides better of it. So he's aboard with a leadoff walk here in the fourth, and we'll have a courtesy runner come out and run for him. That's Shane Huffaker, who will run for him.
Number 19, Keegan Romig.
So Keegan Romig will take to the batter's box now. 2 for 2 on the game with a couple of singles and an RBI. Both his hits sharply to left field. And the pitch to the plate is a strike on the inside corner. 0-1 the count. Well, hard to believe you start the season out where you're blowing on your hands and wearing a heavy coat just to stay warm as the runner from first goes to second. The throwdown may have been in time, but got away from Edgar out there. Let's see. I don't think that is Edgar. We had that defensive replacement. That's right. So that's Josh Fernandez now playing at second base for Davis. So give a stolen base to Ronan Haynes. Count 1 ball and 1 strike on Keegan Romig. And the pitch by Martinez after a look back, and now he's going to turn and spin back that way. See, the lights are on at the Apple Bowl across the way for soccer later. No lights to be found here at Rec Park here this afternoon. Don't need them. The 1-1 pitch to the plate bounces in low for ball 2. Romig raising his left hand to signal out to Haynes out there at second base. That catcher Valencia was able to corral that ball on a low pitch. 2-1 count to Romig, and the delivery after a check of the runner at second on the way outside for ball 3. Keegan Romig doing a nice service to his own batting average with a couple of base hits in this one today. Slowly wags that bat around, and the pitch to the plate is across, and they're going to say a strike, and the count now full at 3-2. So consecutive batters that Martinez has run full counts to start off this 4th inning. Ronan Haynes out there at second base. The pitch to the plate is low and inside for ball 4. So back-to-back walks given up here by Martinez. And that'll bring up Bryce Peters. I mentioned Haynes was with the leadoff there. It's actually Huffaker running for Haynes out there at second base.
Number 5, Bryce Peters.
So Peters stands in, and Martinez, bunt attempt up the third baseline. In comes the third baseman, De Jesus, and his throw to first in time to get the out, but a nice sacrifice bunt. 5-3 on the putout for Bryce Peters. Down to third goes Huffaker. And Romig ends up at second base. 1 out in the inning. Brings up third baseman Colton Dial.
Colton Dial.
Dial 0 for 2 in the ball game so far. Grounded to third in the first and flew out to left. Swings at the first pitch here and fouls it off out of play on the first base side. So 0-1 the count to Colton. Jade Martinez with the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and grounded to the second baseman. Over to his right, Fernandez will field and throw, and it's in time to get the out there at first. But on the play, Ronan Haynes will score. And Wenatchee now on top, 8-1. So 4-3 on the putout, giving RBI to Colton Dial for bringing home the run. Keegan Romig. It goes to third on the play. And that'll bring up center fielder Eddie Hamilton. First pitch to him misses way outside for a ball. 1-0 the count to Eddie, who's 0 for 2 in the game. Has lifted the ball in the air twice. Flew out to center in the second and popped up to the second baseman in the third. The 1-0 pitch swung on and ripped down the left field line. That's going to get out for a base hit. And trotting home on the play will be Keegan Romig. And an RBI single down the line for Eddie Hamilton. Wenatchee on top, 9-1. So an RBI single for Eddie Hamilton. His first hit of the day for Wenatchee.
Number 8, Dalton Thomas.
That'll bring up the number 9 hitter in the order for the Panthers, right fielder Dalton Thomas. Almost hit by a pitch, walked, he scored twice, and fouls the first pitch out of play on this delivery from Jaden Martinez. 0-1 the count to Dalton Thomas. Short lead by Hamilton at first. And the pitch by Valencia. Curveball misses a little high for ball one. 1-1 the count. The pitch to the plate is low and inside for a ball. 1-2, or make that 2-1 the count to Dalton Thomas. The runner goes from first. The pitch swung on. And an attempt to protect the runner there by Dalton Thomas. So Eddie Hamilton on the foul ball will have to head back to first base. 9-1, Wenatchee on top. Scored 2 runs in the first on a sacrifice fly and an RBI for Seth Storley. And then a pickoff move by the pitcher brought home another run. So Wenatchee got 2 in the first. They add 4 more in the second and 2 here in the fourth to lead it 9-1. The pitch to the plate swung on and fouled on a play down the right field line. So the count now even to Dalton Thomas at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Keegan Romig, hitting star of the day for Wenatchee in this one so far, with a couple of base hits, an RBI, and a run scored. Martinez ready. And the 2-2 pitch to Thomas is low. The runner from first goes, and he will slide head first safely. The ball trickles out into center field. Getting up and thinking about advancing further was Eddie Hamilton, but he'll hold tight there with the count now full to Thomas at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, Wenatchee doing some damage with 2 outs. The base hit to left by Eddie Hamilton, who now is at second base. And a 3-2 count, and the pitch to Dalton Thomas goes past the catcher all the way back to the backstop, and easily moving to third on the play is Eddie Hamilton. So Thomas aboard with the 3rd walk of the inning here for the Pirates. And back to the top of the order to shortstop Ben McKay. McKay has been aboard all 3 times he's come to the plate, twice via the error. Has a base hit and a couple of runs scored and 3 stolen bases in this one. So McKay will try to extend the inning for Wenatchee. Pitch to the plate, high over his head. Runner from third, coming home. Catcher will not be able to get after the baseball. And so another run will score. Wenatchee's up 10-1. That will be scored as a wild pitch as Hamilton comes home to score. Dalton Thomas down to second base, and a 1-0 count to Ben McKay. 3 runs are in for Wenatchee in the inning. And the 1-0 pitch to the plate, swung on a miss. The runner from second goes down to third and slides in safely. Almost past the bag was Dalton Thomas, but give him a stolen base, and the count evens to McKay on the strike at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 run, 4 hits, 3 errors for Davis. 10 runs, 6 hits, and 2 errors for Wenatchee. That's your line score right now. And the pitch to the plate swung on a rip foul down the third base line, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes on Ben McKay. 2 down, 3 in, 1 on with Dalton Thomas over at third base, having a conversation with Coach Jeff Zender. And the pitch to the plate is high and behind the batter. Somehow it did not hit Ben McKay, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sports broadcasts on the NCAA Live Channel brought to you by Global Car Care, Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, and Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. We appreciate their sponsoring the NCAA Life Channel. Another pitch that goes high. The runner from third coming home, and he is safe at home. Coming home on the play was Dalton Thomas. Meanwhile, the count goes to 3-2 on Ben McKay. So Thomas scores on a wild pitch. And 4 runs are in the inning. It's 11-1, Wenatchee on top. And we're in the bottom of the 4th. This pitch swung on a rip down the third base line, just foul. So McKay sitting on these pitches, just a little bit in front of it. Full count to McKay. The pitch again to the plate, swung on and lifted in the air to center field and right at Gargis out there, and the inning will finally come to an end. Wenatchee gets 4 runs on just 1 hit, and nobody left on. We will head to the 5th inning of play. Wenatchee on top of Davis, 11-1. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Brock Williams, Henry Gargis, and Isaac Pastrana due up here in the 5th for Davis, as the Wenatchee Panthers have a 10-run lead right now, 11-1. And the first pitch of the inning swung on and grounded towards the shortstop. Ben McKay over will field and throw, and it's in time for the out. 6-3 on the putout on Brock Williams, and back to the top of the order for Davis and Henry Gargis.
Henry Gargis, number 17, center fielder.
Gargis is 2 for 2 in the game with a couple of doubles. He's been lone bright spot for Davis here this afternoon. The pitch is low for a ball, 1-0 the count to Gargis, who also scored Davis's lone run back in the first inning in this one. Wenatchee winning the opener of the doubleheader 2-0, lead it here 11-1. This pitch is an off-speed pitch taken for a strike, and the count evens at 1-1 strike. Henry Gargis takes the next pitch for a strike, and the count a ball and 2 strikes. They do have the 10-run rule in effect in high school baseball. The pitch here is outside for a ball, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 11-1 the score right now, so Davis looking at trying to stay alive in this one. This pitch swung on and grounded to the right of the first baseman, and a hustling play at first base by Henry Gargis, and he's 3 for 3 in the game. Nice attempt by Storley, moving to his right, able to corral the baseball. Covering was Bryce Peters of the bag at first, but hustling up the base path was Henry Gargis, and so he's aboard with a leadoff, or excuse me, a 1-out single here in the 5th. That'll bring up right fielder Isaac Pastrana. First pitch to Pastrana is across for a strike from Peters, and the count 0-1. Peters very quickly working in this ball game. And the 0-1 pitch swung on and lifted in the air. This is in the gap and going to get down for extra bases. Rounding second, Gargis heading for third, and he will hold up there on a 1-out double by Pastrana. So Gargis moves over to third base. Pastrana on at second with a 1-out double. That'll bring up the first baseman, Kobe Cup. Cup 0 for 2 in the ball game. He did get an RBI on a ground out in the first, and he struck out looking in the third. Pitch here, swung on and chopped up the third baseline, and that one's going to stay foul and be strike 1. So Davis doing a pretty good job of trying to stay alive in this ball game with runners in scoring position. And an 0-1 count to Cup. The pitch by Peters is a curveball for a strike on the inside corner. 0-2 to the first baseman for Davis. Peters working from the stretch, takes a check over at the runner at third base as Gargis looking into the sunshine. The pitch swung on the ground and past the mound. Shortstop over to his left. McKay can't field it cleanly, and a run's going to score. It's now 11-2. We'll see if they score that as an error on the shortstop, McKay. Gargis comes home to score on the play. Pastrana moves up to third base. So runners on the corners, 1 run in for Davis, and that'll bring up Diego Sosa. Sosa 0 for 2 in the game so far. A couple of ground outs. And the pitch here misses outside for ball 1 from Bryce Peters. Peters gets the sign from Ronan Haynes, and the 1-0 pitch is low and outside for ball 2. Peters struck out the side in the third, got a strikeout in the fourth. Looking for a little help here with 1 in and 2 on in the fifth, and another pitch missing away for ball 3. Jaden Martinez waiting on deck here for Davis, and this pitch is a strike taken on the inside corner. Count to Diego Sosa at 3 balls and 1 strike. This pitch misses low for ball 4. So the bases are full of Pirates here for Jaden Martinez.
Batter number 12, Jaden Martinez.
Martinez 1 for 2 in the ball game. He singled in the second and popped out in foul territory to the third baseman in the fourth. Meanwhile, Jeff Zender going to come out to the mound here to talk to Bryce about how he feels, how the arm feels, and you don't want to have a game kind of go awry here, as you had an 11-1 lead at one point, and now Jeff Zender's going to say, we're going to go for a new pitcher. So as they bring the new pitcher in, let's go ahead and take a 60-second break on our broadcast. With Wenatchee up 11-2, we're going to take a break and come back here in the fifth inning with 3 aboard and 1 in so far for Davis. We'll take this time out. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. So change here for the Wenatchee Panthers defensively. First of all, it will be Thomas Blakeney coming in to pitch for the Panthers, as he will take over for Bryce Peters, who goes 4 1/3. He is responsible for all 3 that are on the base paths right now for Davis, with 1 out here in the fifth inning. Now Peters will stay in the ballgame. He will move over to third base as Colton Dial will come out of the contest. So basically, Blakeney comes in for Dial in the lineup as he continues his warm-up tosses. The inning began with a ground out by Brock Williams. Then Henry Gargis with his 3rd hit of the ball game, a single to right center. That was followed by a double by Isaac Pastrana. Kobe Cup came up and was able to get aboard on an error. That loaded the bases. And that error allowed Gargis to come around and score. And then Diego Sosa with a walk to load the bases. And the first pitch from Blakeney misses to Martinez. Now the 1-0 pitch swung on and lifted in the air. That's going to drop down for a base hit. 1 run is going to score. And that will be it as the left fielder comes up with the ball. Michael Thomas fires it into home plate. So an RBI single for Jaden Martinez. And it's now 11-3 as Pastrana comes home to score on the play. Cup to third, Sosa to second. And that brings up Gabe DeJesus. He's 1 for 2 in the ball game with a bunt, fielder's choice in the second. The pitch misses low for ball 1, 1-0 the count. And he singled to center in the fourth. So Davis staying alive here and still a chance to add some more. This pitch swung on and fouled away, and the count evens to DeJesus at 1 ball and 1 strike. Still only 1 out, as Davis has brought the 7th batter to the plate here in the top of the 5th inning. The 1-1 pitch to DeJesus. Nice curveball strike on the inside corner, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Josh Fernandez waiting on deck for his chance here in the 5th. The pitch by Blakeney, another curveball and a little bit high. Oh my. Count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sean McNair, the home plate umpire, saying that was just skoshly high. The 2-2 pitch swung on and chopped slowly towards the second baseman. They'll go to second for one and no play. Instead, they're going to come back to third. There is a run that's going to score. They get the force out at second, so Martinez is out there on the fielder's choice. Give an RBI to De Jesus as Cup comes home to score on the play. 3 runs in the inning. It's 11-4 now. Wenatchee on top, and that brings up Josh Fernandez.
Josh Fernandez.
So runners on the corners now after the force play as Sosa goes down to third base. And the pitch to the plate swung on a line drive right to the second baseman. Thomas will squeeze it, and that'll do it here for Davis. But they do get 3 runs on 3 hits, and 2 men are left. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th. It's Wenatchee 11, Davis 4. You're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. We've got a new pitcher on the mound for Davis as Zach Valencia will take over now, pitching for the Pirates as they trail the Panthers 11-4. We'll see what other defensive moves that head coach Brian Richardson makes here in this bottom of the 5th. Due up for the Panthers in the inning, Michael Thomas, Seth Storley, and Ronan Haynes for the Wenatchee Panthers. They lead it 11-4. Our broadcast brought to you by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, where the name means a great deal. Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert auto repair specialist, and Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth. Take a walk on the wild side. Appreciate you joining us here on the NCW Life Channel. Eric Grandstrom with you. Dan Kuntz and Uriah Darby out there manning the cameras. Becca Freemuth back in the studios. Tucker Wagner, our producer-engineer for the first game here of 2. Wenatchee winning the opener 2-0. Leading here in the nightcap 11-4 as the sun has dipped behind the hill and light growing a little thin here. Be surprised if they don't turn the lights on soon. Michael Thomas leads it off here in the 5th for Wenatchee, and the first pitch to him hits him right between the twos on his back on the first pitch from Zach Valencia. And aboard being hit by the pitch is Thomas. That'll bring up first baseman Seth Storley. Storley is 0 for the day so far. Sac fly for an RBI in the first. He popped up to the first baseman in the second, grounded out to third in the third. So with Valencia coming out to pitch, he's normally the catcher. This pitch swung on and fouled back by Storley. 0-1 the count. Trying to get the number on the catcher. I think they just traded spots. Yeah, that's Jaden Martinez. He is now catching for Davis while Valencia is pitching. 0-1 the count to Storley. A check at the bag at first and a toss over that way, and getting back safely Michael Thomas. Storley patiently waiting for Valencia to get the sign, and the right-hander's pitch as the runner goes is a ball outside, and they throw down to second base, a little wide of the second base bag, and with a stolen base is Michael Thomas. Count even on Storley now, a ball and a strike. And the 1-1 pitch swung on and fouled back into the screen behind home plate. The count 1-2 on Seth Storley. Storley back in, ready to go. Thomas with a short lead from the bag at second. A check by Valencia. The pitch swung on and hit into right field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Let's see if they send the runner. They will, as the right fielder bobbled the baseball and coming home to score standing up. And now Storley is caught in a rundown between first and second, and they're going to tag him out at second base. So Storley with a base hit, but then caught in a rundown, as that will go 9-3 6 for the first out. Michael Thomas does come around to score. So it's now 12-4. Wenatchee on top, and that'll bring up catcher Ronan Haynes. Haynes 1 for 2. He scored a couple of runs and has a couple of RBIs in this one, as he'll step in with nobody on now, as Valencia will look in for the sign from Martinez. And the pitch on the way to the plate misses outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Some squirrely numbers in this one on the scoreboard. This pitch inside, and I think it hit him. Or no, it didn't. It went behind him. So the count 2-0 on Ronan Haynes. 4 runs, 7 hits, 3 errors for Davis. 12 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors for Wenatchee. That's your line score here. And the pitcher coming over towards the dugout area asking for timeouts. Puts his glove down and the ball down. Heads into the dugout. So you can see it on TV. I can't see what's going on in the dugout area. I'm not sure what he's after down there. There's no restroom down there, so I don't think that's the issue. Not sure what's going on. But Valencia gets timeout from the home plate umpire and then heads into the dugout. So hopefully everything's all right with him. Got a big soccer game coming up Tuesday right here on the NCAA Live channel, as Wenatchee and Eastmont will battle. That will be a good one. And by the way, that game that was originally scheduled for Eastmont High School has been moved to the Apple Bowl because of unplayable field conditions at Eastmont High. So that'll be played here at the Apple Bowl. Well, after the timeout, Valencia looks like he's ready to go. And the pitch to the plate is a check swing, but he didn't check it up good enough. Did Ronan Haynes. The count goes to 2-1. Valencia looking in, gets the sign from Martinez, and the 2-1 pitch is low and inside for a ball. 3-1 to Ronan Haynes. 12-4 the score. We're in the bottom of the fifth at Recreation Park. 3-1 pitch swung on and a well-hit ball deep to right field. Right fielder going back, looking up, and it's gone. A home run. See ya. Ronan Haynes with a shot out to right field. Sat on that 3-1 pitch and drills it over the right field wall for a solo home run. Greeted by his Panther teammates in a row as he comes back towards the dugout. That'll bring up Keegan Romig. Keegan is 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, an RBI, and a run scored. The right fielder was able to retrieve that baseball. I think he got some help over there by the concession stand as they have the Apple Bowl open, getting ready for varsity soccer coming up for the Wenatchee Panthers. Looks like we have a pinch hitter for Wenatchee as David Snyder will come in and pinch hit for Keegan Romig. So Snyder, who came in as a courtesy runner earlier in the game, now in as a pinch hitter for Romig. And Valencia ready for the first delivery on the way to Snyder. It's swung on and fouled behind home plate, and the count 0-1 on David Snyder. Snyder did get the start in our opening game today. Went 1 for 3 with a bunt single. And the 0-1 pitch on the way by Valencia is missing outside for a ball. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. So, yeah, really looking forward to that soccer match Tuesday night. Be sure and listen in and watch it right here on the NCW Life Channel. This pitch swung on and fouled off of the screen behind home plate, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. 2 runs in for Wenatchee here in the 5th. Solo home run by Ronan Haynes. Michael Thomas, after getting aboard being hit by a pitch, came around and scored. And the pitch is a swing and a miss on a pitch that he was behind and gone swinging as David Snyder for the second out here in the 5th. That'll bring up Bryce Peters. Peters, after stepping off the mound, the third baseman, the first pitch to him is in there for a strike, and the count 0-1 to Bryce, who is 1 for 1. He had a base hit in the first, walked in the second, and a sacrifice in the fourth. The 0-1 pitch on the way to Peters, swung on and hit, glances off the pitcher's glove, and into center field it goes. So Bryce Peters will be aboard with a base hit here with 2 outs in the 5th, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Peters, the third baseman. So this will bring up the pitcher, who we mentioned came in basically as a defensive replacement or offensive replacement for Colton Dial. It'll be Thomas Blakeney. Blakeney ready. Valencia ready. And the pitch is inside and hit Blakeney. So the second batter hit by a pitch here in the inning for the Panthers. And that'll bring up another pinch hitter for Wenatchee is TJ Sherding. Will come in and hit for Eddie Hamilton. Another freshman getting in the lineup here for the Wenatchee Panthers. 2 on, 2 in, 2 out, as TJ Sherding gets his chance to see what he could do here for the Wenatchee Panthers. Valencia set, checks the runner at second base. And the pitch to Sherding, swung on a chop back to the mound. And Valencia fields and throws to first base in time for the out. So that'll do it for Wenatchee here in the 5th. They get 2 runs on 3 hits. They leave 2. We'll head to the 6th inning of play with Wenatchee on top of Davis, 13-4. So Zach Valencia leads it off here for the Davis Pirates, and the first pitch to him is in for a strike from Blakeney. 0-1 the count, and the next pitch also taken for a strike. 0-2 quickly to Valencia. And the next pitch from Blakeney swung on and missed, and so a 3-pitch strikeout for Blakeney to start off the 6th inning. Wenatchee up by a score of 13-4. You're watching Panther Baseball here on the NCW Life Channel. Eric Grandstrom with you. Thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast today. Second game of our doubleheader. This pitch swung on and fouled up the third baseline. Brock Williams fouls the first pitch off, so nothing but strikes here so far in this frame from Thomas Blakeney. By the way, Bryce Peters goes 4 1/3 here in this second game of the doubleheader today. Gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. And 3 of those runs were earned. 2-1 count, and the pitch swung on and fouled on the first base side. The count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes on Brock Williams. He'll be followed by Henry Gargas here in the 6th for the Davis Pirates. 2-2 pitch on the way to the plate, swung on and missed, and fooled him on that one. So 2 quick strikeouts here for Thomas Blakeney. And back to the top of the order for Davis for center fielder Henry Gargas. Gargas, great game here for Davis offensively. He's 3 for 3 in the ball game with a couple of doubles, a single, and 2 runs scored. Pitch to Gargas is a strike on the inside corner, 0-1 the count. So how about the freshman Thomas Blakeney firing some darts out there on the mound? The 0-1 pitch on the way to the plate misses outside for ball 1. 1-1 the count to Gargas, and the pitch to the plate is a curveball, missing a little bit low. 2-1. Thomas knows he's got to be a little careful with this man at the plate right now. And this curveball is just outside. Boy, didn't miss by much. 3-1 the count to the center fielder for Davis. Sports on the NCW Life Channel. Brought to you by AC Checker Taxi Cab Company. This pitch swung on and popped up foul and behind home plate out of play, and the count runs full to Gargas at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sports also brought to you by Neil's Boots and Shoes and Quick Lube and Tune. Thank you so much for being a part of our broadcast here on the NCW Life Channel. This pitch swung on and fouled down the third base line and out of play. The count remains full to Gargas at 3-2. 2 outs, nobody on here in the 6th for the Davis Pirates. 13 runs on 8 hits and 3 errors for Wenatchee. 4 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors for Davis. That's your line score here with 2 outs in the 6th. And a 3-2 count on Henry Gargas. Pitch on the way from Blakeney, swung on and again fouled back. As Gargas is trying to line him up here. And the 3-2 pitch again, this time misses outside, and that is ball 4. So a 2-out walk issued to Henry Gargas, and this will bring up Isaac Pastrana. Pastrana with a 2 for 3 game so far, a bunt single, a double, a strikeout, and a run scored. And the first pitch to him from Blakeney is a little bit low for ball 1. Lacrosse on the TV tomorrow. Runner from first goes. The pitch is in there for a strike, but it was an off-speed pitch. Didn't give the catcher much of a chance. And so a stolen base for Gargas, and the count evens to Pastrana at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ronan Haynes, not much of a chance there. The runner from first going on the pitch and a curveball, off-speed pitch. By the time he got it, the runner was basically out there at second base. Curveball here is called strike, and the count goes to 1-2 on Isaac Pastrana. Well, Valencia struck out. Williams struck out. Now Blakeney, a 1-2 count to Pastrana, and the pitch swung on and lifted in the air to left field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Rounding third and heading for home, Gargas will score on an RBI single by Isaac Pastrana. That makes it a 13-5 contest.
Back to the first baseman, number 1, Kobe Cup.
Kobe Cup now stands in, looking for his first hit of the game. And the pitch by Blakeney is a little bit low. 1-0 the count to Kobe Cup. Grounded out to short on an RBI in the first, struck out looking in the third, and walked in, or actually got aboard on an error and scored in the 5th. The 0-1 pitch by Blakeney as the runner goes is in for a strike. The throw down to second base is off the line a little bit. Diving in front of the base runner was the shortstop, McKay. And in safely with a stolen base is Pastrana, but the count, well, they said that was a ball. So 1-1 the count now on Kobe Cup. Runner in scoring position again for Davis. With 2 down, 1 in, and 1 on here in the 6th. The 1-1 pitch is a strike on the outside corner. The count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Thomas Blakeney looks in, gets the sign from Roland Haynes, and here comes the 1-2 pitch. It's outside for a ball, 2-2. Blakeney looks over his shoulder at the runner at second, Isaac Pastrana. The 2-2 pitch is a check swing. Did he go? The pitch was low, and they appeal out, and Clark Wright says nope, didn't go. So the count runs full to Cup at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Big gap in the right side of the infield where second baseman Thomas is holding the runner on, and the pitch misses outside, so they'll put him aboard with a 2-out walk. So runners at first and second, and that'll bring up Diego Sosa. Meanwhile, thanks for joining us for Wenatchee Panther Baseball here on the NCW Life Channel. Zach Valencia continues his warm-up tosses as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Wenatchee on top of this one, 13-6 over Davis. Due up here in the 6th for the Panthers. It'll be Dalton Thomas, Ben McKay, and Michael Thomas, the number 9, 1, and 2 batters for Wenatchee.
Second baseman, number 8, Dalton Thomas.
Thomas has been aboard 3 times. He's scored 3 times, but he hasn't touched the bat to the ball. He's been hit by a pitch and walked twice. This pitch low and outside for a ball. 1-0 the count. Big weekend of lacrosse here in Wenatchee. The 1-0 pitch is across and a little bit low, though, so the count 2-0. We mentioned that we've got varsity high school lacrosse on the broadcast tomorrow with Richland and Wenatchee Valley here for the Apple Bowl at 1 o'clock. This pitch swung on and fouled, and the count 2-1 to Dalton Thomas. Also this weekend, they've got a bunch of youth teams in town for the Icebreaker lacrosse tournament. That'll be happening at Walla Walla Point Park on Saturday and Sunday. The 1-2 pitch is a little outside, or excuse me, I said 2-1 pitch. Now it's 3-1. The count to Dalton Thomas. And a pitch by Valencia to the plate is again missing outside, and a leadoff walk for Wenatchee here in the 6th. That'll bring up the shortstop, Ben McKay. McKay, a single left in the first, and he scored a run.
Ben McKay.
Got aboard on an error on the right fielder in the second and scored a run. Got aboard on an error on the third baseman in the third. Got as far as third base. And the first pitch from Valencia to McKay swung on and lifted in the air to left field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Rounding second, heading for third. Dalton Thomas, no, they're going to stop him there. The left fielder came up the ball quickly. Nice play out there by Pastrana.
Back the left fielder.
But give a single to McKay. Thomas holding up at second on the play, and that brings up Michael Thomas, the left fielder. Clark Wright asking the pitcher Valencia to tuck in his shirt a little bit better, holding his glove for him while he did so. So Dalton Thomas at second base, Ben McKay at first base, and Michael Thomas stepping to the plate. He has scored 3 runs in this one without the benefit of a base hit. The pitch by Valencia swung on and grounded towards the shortstop. Double play chance. They flip it to second for 1. The throw to first base. Not in time as Michael Thomas very quickly up the line. They will get the force on McKay out there. 6-4. Michael Thomas aboard on the fielder's choice. One out for Wenatchee as Dalton Thomas moves down to third base. And that'll bring up Seth Storley.
Number 3, Seth Storley.
Storley was able to coax his first hit of the day in his last at bat on a single. He's 1 for 4 in this one. Or 1 for 3, I should say. Storley with a chance to pick up an RBI with Dalton Thomas 90 feet away at third base. Timeout as the pitcher Valencia steps off the rubber. I just saw a bird come flying in here underneath the eaves here at Rec Park. The pitch to the plate swung on and popped up foul territory, and this one's going to get out of play. 0-1 the count on Seth Storley. It was 15 years ago today that Randy Johnson, in a spring training game in Arizona, threw a pitch that killed a pigeon. 15 years ago today. A little baseball trivia for you. 0-1 the count to Storley. Thomas was on the move on the pitch. Let's see if he turns him loose again over there at first base. Nope, we're going to get a fake throw and a look back to first, and no throw coming from Valencia. It is, I'm not kidding you, chilly here tonight. Oof. Should have wore my long johns. 0-1 the count to Storley. Pitch on the way. The ball goes past the catcher all the way to the backstop. And coming home on the play, standing, is Dalton Thomas on a wild pitch. Meanwhile, down to second goes Michael Thomas. So the Panthers get another run and lead it now 14-6. Some crooked numbers in this one. That's for sure. Count even, meanwhile, to Storley at 1 ball and 1 strike with a runner at second base. And the 1-1 pitch to the plate, swung on and hit hard to the second baseman. Gathering it up, throwing from his knees. Nice job out there at second base by Fernandez, as he's able to handle that hot shot right to him. Michael Thomas moves to third on the play. 4-3 on the putout. 2 outs here in the 6th. And that brings up the catcher, Ronan Haynes. Well, Haynes stepped up in the 5th, cranked the ball over the right field wall for a homer. He's got, 4 RBIs, make that 3 RBIs on the day, and 3 runs scored. So Ronan Haynes steps up for Wenatchee, leading at 14-6 with a runner at third and 2 outs. First pitch misses inside for a ball. 1-0 the count. David Snyder waiting on deck for Wenatchee, hoping for a shot here in the 6th. The 1-0 pitch on the way to the plate is outside for a ball. 2-0. Haynes grounded out to second in the first. Had a 2-run single in the second and scored. Walked in the 4th and scored, and had that solo homer in the 5th. This pitch misses away for a ball. 3-0 the count on Ronan Haynes, as Valencia being a little more careful this time around with the man in the left-handed batter's box for Wenatchee. The 3-0 pitch swung on, and a hard hit ball into the gap in right center field. That's going to score a run. If that ball hit any drier patch out there, he probably would have a triple, but instead has a stand-up double and another RBI added to the day for Ronan Haynes. It's now 15-6, Wenatchee on top. Michael Thomas comes home to score.
Center fielder number 10.
So 4 RBIs on the day for Ronan Haynes. That'll bring up David Snyder. Snyder came in as a pinch hitter for Keegan Romig in the 5th and struck out. So the scoreboard here says 6 runs, 9 hits, and 3 errors for Davis. 15 runs, 10 hits, and 3 errors for Wenatchee. We're not done yet. The pitch to Snyder from Valencia. high for ball one. Third baseman Bryce Peters warming up on deck for Wenatchee. Sizable lead out at second for Haynes. Pitch to the plate. High. 2-0 the count on David Snyder. The senior for the Wenatchee Panthers back in the right-handed batter's box. And the 2-0 delivery by Valencia. This one just a little outside for ball three. Looks like looking up the valley to Mission Ridge is socked in right now. Maybe even getting some more snow with a big ski race happening there this weekend. This pitch is a called strike, and the count to Snyder goes to 3-1. Lights on here taking effect at Recreation Park. In the second end of this doubleheader, the 3-1 pitch swung on and popped up in shallow right field. Long run for Pastrana. He'll call off the second baseman and make the catch for the out, and that'll do it for Wenatchee. But the Panthers get two more here in the sixth inning. On one hit, they leave a man. We'll head to the seventh inning of play with Wenatchee on top. 15-6, you're watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Welcome back once again here to the Recreation Park in Wenatchee. We've got a new pitcher on the mound. We're trying to gather up his information. He's wearing number 17. The only 17 I find is on the C team, and that would be Dylan Nordentoft. I don't know if that's the man or not. They're looking up the lineup sheet here for Coach Jeff Zender as we head to the top of the seventh inning. Gabe De Jesus will lead it off here for Davis. Colton Dial, there we go. So he just changed his uniform?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Colton Dial. Oh, Files, okay. There we go, Colton Files is the new pitcher for Wenatchee. Colton is listed on the junior varsity team. So Colton Files is a freshman. Thomas Blakeney goes an inning and 2/3 for Wenatchee. Gave up 2 runs on 1, 2, 3 hits. This pitch swung on and lifted in the air to left center field, and right there the Panthers able to track it down as it's David Snyder making the play. So 1 out here in the seventh. That'll bring up Josh Fernandez for Davis. Pitch on the way by Files is a little high for ball one. 1-0 the count. So Bryce Peters stands to win this one for Wenatchee. If the Panthers can hold on to a 15-6 lead. 1-1 the count to Fernandez. As Colton Files ready with a 1-1 pitch, it's a little low for a ball. 2-1. Zach Valencia would be up next, due up for Davis. The 2-1 pitch by Files is swung on and popped up, should be playable for first baseman. And over there to make the play is Storley for Wenatchee, and that's 2 down here in the seventh.
Batter number 8, Zach Valencia.
Valencia now stepping up 0 for 3 in the game so far for Davis. Trying to keep a hope alive, and the pitch to the plate is missing inside from File. 1-0 the count. So Colton Files, third pitcher of the game for Wenatchee, out there on the mound. The 1-0 pitch is across and a strike. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Our broadcast brought to you today by Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and Leavenworth, Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore. Swing and a miss on the next pitch by Valencia. 1-2 the count. And Global Car Care in Wenatchee. Sports on NCW Life also brought to you by AC Checker Taxi Cab, Neil's Boots and Shoes, and Quick Lube and Tune. The 1-2 pitch to the plate, swung on and missed. Ball skips aside from the catcher, and Haynes throws down to first base, and that'll do it. K2-3 on the putout. And the Wenatchee Panthers get the victory here by a score of 15-6 over the Davis Pirates. The teams shake hands, and we'll take a quick break and come back and get a wrap on this one for you. 60-second break on our broadcast, and we'll get things lined up back in the studios also for the rest of our broadcast night. Again, 15-6 the final. The Wenatchee Panthers get the victory and sweep aside the Davis Pirates. We'll come back after the 60-second break and get you a wrap up on this one. You've been watching Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. One more time around here at the Recreation Park in Wenatchee, where the Wenatchee Panthers have swept aside the Davis Pirates in a doubleheader here today. In the opener, it was Wenatchee getting the win by a score of 2-0 in kind of a more traditional type of baseball game, where Wenatchee got 4 hits in the ball game, and the RBI ground out by Seth Storley proved to be really the difference in the ball game. Mikey Thomas with a run scored, Bryce Peters with a run scored, and that was it for Wenatchee in the opener as they get victory. Good job on the mound by Eddie Hamilton. He goes 6 innings, allowed no runs and 3 hits, and struck out 6 to get the win. In the nightcap, a lot of crooked numbers as Wenatchee's able to get the win 15-6 with 10 hits in the ball game, and a great hitting performance by Ronan Haynes. He goes 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs, including a home run and a double. Meanwhile, on the mound, it was a victory performance for Bryce Peters, who goes 4 1/3, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits, and Bryce Peters gets the victory on the mound in Game 2 for Wenatchee. So Wenatchee gets back on the winning track here at home tonight, and they sweep aside Davis for the season after winning yesterday 12-2. They win tonight 2-0, and they end the nightcap here 15-6. So the Wenatchee Panthers, with the victory, improve to 3-2 on the season, while Davis falls to 0-5. Once again, thanks to everybody involved in the broadcast here today, to Dan Kuntz and Uriah Darby handling the camera work out there in center field, to Tucker Wagner, our producer engineer for Game 1, and of course to Becca Freemuth here, our producer engineer in Game 2. I'm Eric Granstrom. Thanks for joining us for Wenatchee Panther Baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow for more live sports on the NCW Life Channel, where Wenatchee Valley Lacrosse takes on Richland. We'll have that for you with a pregame at 12:50 and the face-off at 1 o'clock from the Apple Bowl. Have a good night, everybody, and thanks for joining us on the NCW Life Channel.
Thanks for watching high school baseball on the NCW Life Channel. Today's broadcast has been presented by Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, Global Car Care, Wenatchee's friendly expert audio repair specialist, and the Walkabout Grill. Your source for high school sports throughout the year is the NCW Life Channel.